Thanks for tuning in to The Useful Musician. Today, we're going to look at this Squier Jazzmaster, and I'll give you my first impressions. So this show basically is just me reviewing stuff that I've bought and sharing my opinion on it. It's probably the 837th video that you've watched on the Squier Jazzmaster. You've probably been like me, you've watched all the other videos about the history of the Jazzmaster. Great one by 5 Watt World out there, I highly recommend. Lots of great videos, hope you check them out. But maybe you're looking for another one just because you're trying to convince yourself whether or not you should get this or not. So hopefully mine is going to be helpful. So I just got this Squier Jazzmaster today. This is the Olympic white version. I got it from Sweetwater, not sponsored by any means. I haven't even taken the plastic off of the pick guard. I did pull the plastic off one of the pickups today. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the specs. I'm not the person to do that. I've played this thing for about 20 minutes today when it came in my lunch break. So I don't know much about it. I've spent 20 minutes playing a Jazzmaster in my entire life. So I'll be playing through my Fender Tone Master Deluxe Reverb, the blonde edition. And when I got this, I was thinking I would do more hipster ambient stuff that I do through it. Though I do like that it's kind of a versatile instrument for some other styles as well. So I got my pedal board hooked up today though, so I can play maybe more what I anticipate playing through this instrument. I do play some country music and some other styles as well, so maybe it'll give you a review of what it sounds like. So this is the bridge pickup, and I don't have any effects on it right now, just a little bit of reverb in the amp. So no effects on that there. And it's pretty bright. It has sort of a MIDI, mid-range, almost like a huskiness to the sound. Heard people try to describe this, and it just feels like a little more mid-range, a little less clear. Tremolo arm back here because it's not something I use a lot, yeah. So it sounds nice. I've got everything, the 2 knobs at 10. I'm off the rhythm circuit now. So let's try the middle, and in the few minutes that I played, I really liked the middle pickup sounds on Telecasters, on my Les Paul and 335 style guitars. So it is a floating style tremolo, so you can pull up as well, which is the way Stratocasters can do that as well as other types of tremolos. I have one, my Strat set to floating. I have another one set where it only goes, bends the pitch down. So very spanky, like extremely bright, maybe too much on the, especially on the E string. I don't know what that sounds like coming through the speakers, but it's very much spanky. And I might, see if I need to adjust the pickups a little bit. It came from Sweetwater, and they do some nice inspection and quality control before it goes out. Here's the neck pickup. bit warmer, more mid-rangey. It's got character to it compared to, say, a Strat, even though this is a single coil. So now there's this rhythm circuit, which is intended to be a jazz circuit. I don't know what Fender was thinking. Apparently they had never listened to a jazz record in their life, because this thing is not a jazz guitar. Just doesn't sound like it. It doesn't mean you can't get a jazz sound out of it. You can get a jazz sound out of any guitar. I'm not a jazz player, but when you flip this on, it immediately bypasses whatever you got going on down here with the controls, tone, volume, and selector switch. So nothing I do down here affects it. It just turns this pickup on, and then you have a volume and tone control for that, which I have both rolled all the way up. So you can get a jazz sound out of it, but I don't think any jazz player would choose this guitar because it's actually really bright and jangly in some ways. So less so than its counterparts, like maybe a Mustang or a Strat. But it never quite became the jazz guitar that maybe they intended it to be. Of course, I was saying that, but now it actually sounds pretty good, and I'm thinking maybe you could play jazz on it. So anyway, you can get a jazz sound out of any guitar. Of course, you could roll the tone. And make it a little warmer if you wanted. So that's what sort of the sounds that come out of this, straight out of the amp. I'll talk about the sort of fit and finish and quality before I dive into some other types of sounds. I'm just making all this up as I go, so I didn't plan anything I was going to play, so we'll see what I play. But in terms of fit, finish, and quality, I mean, it looks like a nice guitar. Now you can hear I'm getting some buzz from my lights here in my office, but it looks like a nice guitar. I mean, it's got a, poly finish, a hard, protective finish. It's got a poly finish on the back of the neck, so it's glossy. It's made in Indonesia, and I don't see any sort of problems with this. And again, the setup seems okay. Maybe I want to adjust down this bridge pickup on the treble side to try to take out some of that edge. But the action is really nice. It's maybe on the high side a little bit, but I don't have any buzzes or playability issues. I don't know if that's Fender or if that's Sweetwater doing that. They did send a card that showed their inspection with it, but yeah, the strings seem okay. The sound is okay. There's no weird buzzing or anything like that. One thing I do notice, you can maybe hear when I start to activate the tremolo, it clicks a little bit as the tremolo arm is moving inside of this tremolo unit. So that's one thing that I wasn't expecting. I've not played Jazzmasters. I don't know if that's something that's common with all of them. It doesn't come through the amp necessarily, but that is one problem. I like the way the tuners feel. I would say I have another Squier guitar that I've had for a long time. It's a really cheap one, and it does not feel this good. So if there was one thing that I would do other than adjusting this, I would see if I could condition the fretboard, because the fretboard seems light colored and dry. So maybe a condition in the fretboard, and maybe the frets could be polished a little nicer to make it a little smoother. But right out of the box, it's gonna play good. It's a better guitar than I am a player. So I think it's definitely not something where my talent exceeds the ability of this guitar to perform and make great sounds. So it's a nice guitar, and this one was on sale, but it sells for around $430, around $400. I've seen them used, in the $400 or less, $350 range. on Facebook Marketplace. And honestly, for that, it's a really cool looking guitar. That's really why I got it. It's vibes. In fact, this may even be a classic vibe model, I'm not sure. But even on that bend, I can feel a little bit of friction on the fret, where perhaps it could have been polished a little bit nicer, but again, I can still perform as good as I want on it. So let's hear it with some other sounds now. So let's pretend that I know what I'm doing. And I've got a Morning Glory on now, a JHS Morning Glory, just to give it a little dirt. This is on this low gain setting. Yeah, I mean, this is on the bridge pickup. It sounds really nice with the Morning Glory, and I think having a little bit more mid-range in the pickup helps that work better. So it's a little bit more than an always-on pedal. Like some people use it just to sort of emulate an amp that's been turned up a little bit, the Morning Glory. But this, it feels like it's really is a drive pedal that's happening. So I actually really like it. It's got some nice cut and punch. It gets some drive. If I turn my Strat on with that pedal, sometimes I can't even tell that it's doing anything. And so I'll use the red higher gain of the Morning Glory. So the Morning Glory is a really common pedal, and maybe something you're familiar with. Let's try it with the red setting. I just have a button to turn it to the high gain setting. So sounds good, cuts through. Let's go to this middle section here. And let's add some reverb. I have a Ventris dual reverb on here for some really big ambient reverbs. Got that sort of really high spanky sound there. I keep wanting to do my fake tremolo with the neck. Yeah, I wonder if I can like stick something down in this to make that tighter so it doesn't click like that. That's a really big reverb. Definitely that high note pops out. I'm gonna add a little delay. Let's get into another key here. All right, so here we are on the neck pickup with this sort of ambient sound. It's just my favorite sound on a lot of guitars. I don't know what that says about me, because a lot of people don't like that, but it's just got this sort of sweetness to it, like the out of phase positions on a Strat. So that's a analog delay with a mod on it. So I do have some buzz on this. It's single coil pickups. I have a Electro Harmonics deep hum debugger, which helps with that quite a bit. It takes a little bit out of the sound if you're paying real close attention. So the cool thing about this rhythm circuit is that it uses different resistance on the pots, so it actually isn't just the same as this, but that you can set it differently, but it actually flows through a different circuit of resistance, so it'll make different sounds. I turn on my Noble's ODR Mini. So that's more of a true overdrive, and again, usually would play something more like a bridge, most commonly with that. So that's a pretty crazy delay I've got on there, because I do some pretty crazy stuff with this. So it has gone out of tune a little bit. I don't know if that's because it's new. It's probably because it's a cheap guitar and I'm using the tremolo on it. And that's something I've heard about these guitars, is that they don't stay in tune really well. And you know, I wouldn't expect that for essentially the bottom of the line version of this guitar. So I'm interested in what you think about it from what I've played so far and what I've told you. What does it sound like on your end? My playing, I don't know, I didn't come with an inspired song or something like that, but hopefully it's just a real honest, hey, this is what maybe way you would play if you picked it up. So it sounds actually really good with that Nobles. And you know, people actually did play country on this, like the guitarist for Johnny Cash. There's been lots of surf rock, which I couldn't even begin to play, so I won't do that. But you know, you can play some country, a little bit of chicken picking on it. So you can do a lot with this guitar. Is it going to be the best one in each of those genres? I don't know, but I will say I think it responds really well to overdrive, these pickups with the sort of mid-range focus. And again, this is bottom of the line for Jazzmaster pickups, but they have an interesting characteristic. It is different than my Strats and Tellies. I kind of thought it would be like a Strat missing the middle pickup, but it's not. And I will say it does feel really good. I'm sitting down. Supposedly they were designed again for jazz players who largely sit down, but it is an extremely comfortable guitar to play, very balanced. This whole time, like bending on it has been really good. Playing up and down the neck, I've got tons of access to the frets. The fit and finish is really nice for the price point, and it is a beautiful guitar. I'm glad I have it. We'll see if it's something that I use a lot. I'm gonna take it out and do some gigs, some more ambient gigs with it and things like that. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. This has been The Useful Musician. We'll see you next time.